Hey AfterBuzzers, welcome to the Unlocking the Truth After Show, where we are discussing the series premiere. So stay tuned, there's a lot to talk about.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
This is very
smile, but
yeah, we're trying to figure out what to, what music would capture this show. Hey guys, welcome to the AfterBuzz TV premiere of the After Show for Unlocking the Truth, MTV's new murder mystery type show. My name is Nadine Della Pelle, and you can follow me everywhere on social media at NadineDP and the number 3. And to my left,
I'm Abigail Fraher, and you can follow me at Abigail Fraher, keeping it easy for you guys.
I am Maddie Makeley, and you can find me on all my socials at Maddie_Makeley.
Hey guys, I'm Olivia. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at _O_G.
There we go. Awesome. Well, so what do you guys initially think about the show? I mean, personally, I'm obsessed with murder mystery type stuff. So when I saw MTV was finally coming out with something like this, I was very curious to see how they were going to be able to play it off, because it's not like your typical HBO or Netflix documentary where you can show gore and you can show craziness. So it is on cable. I was impressed, but kind of a little underimpressed. What about you guys?
I would have to agree with you.
Yeah?
I would have to agree. I was like, wow, this is really heavy stuff, especially for the target audience of MTV, I think. But I thought they did a good job. I thought they did a good job for what they're having to work with, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I liked it a lot. I'm kind of just like in awe of like Ryan's story himself, especially in the beginning, just because like this happens a lot, like not only to him, like to a bunch of people. Like this is happening right now, but like I think we're also blind to it, and we've been blind to it. So I think that was kind of like a shocking thing. But to see him, the whole layout of this show is kind of funky too. How, like the way he's like approaching each investigation like individually on each episode, kind of thing. So it's kind of
it is a little bit all over the place. What about you?
I love shows like this.
Yeah.
I was telling you guys how many different ones I watch, but this one stands out to me especially because it's actually from a perspective of somebody that was in the situation himself, which I think makes it extremely interesting, and you kind of see it in a different way.
Yeah, and I think also like the fact that he actually has a personal connection to the first case he's talking to. Yeah. They were in the exact same, and we'll get more into this, but they were in the exact same prison. And I think I loved the part, or not loved the part, I think it was more, it was just more touching and more realistic when he was like, he's probably on the same phone that I was on when I was calling my family. He's probably sitting in the same spot that I was sitting in. And that kind of just made it like, oh my gosh, this guy knows, he's in the right
And when he was like naming the same people, and the guy's like, oh yeah, I know who they are. I'm like, this is kind of crazy.
Right?
Also too, it makes me wonder if there is some like, I don't want to go that far as favoritism, but if maybe he does feel a little stronger about this case than other cases, just because there is the similarity there.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he'll have more passion for it at least because he has a connection. But so speaking of Ryan, let's talk about our hosts that are hosting the show. So there's Ryan, and then there's Eva.
Yes.
So Ryan, he was, everyone who watched the show, we know he was basically wrongly convicted of a crime for 10 years for killing a sports editor out in Kansas City, and he was finally, after 8 years of trying, and then they tried to get it appealed, didn't work even after 2 witnesses decided to say, hey, I lied, and then 2 more years it took for him to get out.
Which is crazy.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That's just insane. Like when he was explaining this whole story from the beginning, I was just like, they even said that they lied and apologized for it. Like, how could you not take this further as like police and as a case? I feel like it's either laziness or they just want to put someone away in jail.
That's what I was thinking the whole time. I'm like, it's just so much quicker to just nail someone so like everyone feels safe rather than to actually go and try and find that person.
But at the end of the day, it costs more money to keep this person in jail for that amount of time than to be appealing it. But I talk about, this is kind of weird, but I talk about this stuff with my friends all the time, and someone even quoted this in the show. It's like, you automatically think you're innocent until you're proven guilty, because that's just the way you assume, like, I didn't do it, how would I go to jail? They're obviously going to know I didn't do it, but that's not necessarily how it is. It's more of you're guilty until proven innocent, and that's extremely scary situation, because why would you ever think that something like that would happen to you? Like, this kid just completely got pulled over out of the blue and his life was over just like that.
And doesn't that make you terrified too?
Yeah.
Like if he did absolutely nothing wrong and they were actually able to prove that, who knows, I leave tonight here at work and then, I just get pulled over and people accuse me of some type of crime. And that's why I think I love shows like this, and a show, it kind of exposes the horrible judicial system they're living in.
It makes it like realistic for people to understand, which also too, like, while I'm sitting there watching it, we just had The Making a Murderer, and then also just with like mainstream TV, like news nowadays, like there's such a commonality, I think, between just making someone automatically be to blame because it's the easiest thing to do rather than actually going in and like investigating things.
Yeah, there's a movement happening.
Yeah.
I actually noticed this a lot, like going into Michael's case, because they were saying, if a 14-year-old boy can be convicted of something like this, then like anyone can. Like that's just like
and what does a 14-year-old know about their rights?
Yeah, right.
Too, or anything like that.
And I just like couldn't even believe his whole case in general too. And it was just like, if he can be convicted of that and like be like pulled away from family and everything like that, then like who can't, That's like scary. I never even like realized that, so that's kind of
I mean, it's absolutely terrifying, but I mean, a lot of the times they are right. They do get it right. The police do get it right. Yeah. We're talking about, yes, I know that he was throwing out these percentages that there's 2.4 million people incarcerated right now, and about 3 to 5% of them are innocent. That is a big percentage, and there needs to be, but there is no proof that they're innocent. That's kind of just what he's estimating as well. So I would kind of you're never going to really get that evidence proof until that amount of people are actually freed from specific evidence. But yeah, so him, Ryan, and Ava, their whole goal basically is, I loved how she said they're rogue investigators. They basically put this little hat on and decided that they really want to go out. Yeah, they really want to go out, and
like, they're partners in this. They're cute. I like them.
Yeah,
I like them together a lot.
Yeah, do we all like their dynamic? Or?
Yeah, I do. I think it's gonna be interesting to see how it unfolds a little more. Like once things get a little more intense, or like I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing like maybe a disagreement too between them.
Yeah,
like just not necessarily if one thinks someone actually is guilty, but I don't know, just to see how they respond to both of those things too, just because Ryan went through the actual process, and then Eva's like, that's her job. They said like she had 14. She's been a part of 14 exonerations, I think.
Yeah, so her story is she's just basically had kind of an obsession with internment and people getting kind of falsely imprisoned. Her grandparents were falsely imprisoned during World War II? Yeah, during World War II out here in America. So she has kind of a history and backing with it. So with both of them and both of their histories and both of their passions, I think it's a great duo that they have together. So that's who our hosts are, and I think it's gonna be fun to watch them. But let's talk about our first person, Michael. Is it Polite, or I couldn't really
Polite.
Is it Polite?
But I feel like he said it a little differently than they were saying it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if it's the accent or
Because it's spelled polite.
Someone let us know. Give us the enunciation.
You guys know about it.
Polite.
So this case took place. This murder took place in Missouri, and it was Rita Polite, who's Michael's mother, She was the victim of this horrible crime. Michael is the person who was accused of it. Her 14-year-old son. So this was back in 1999. He was 14 then. So he's what now? He's pushed 30 and mid-30s now.
Right, mid-30s.
Can you imagine that at 14 years old being convicted of killing your mother? What psyche happens?
No. The whole thing that really gets me about this is, what was the motive? Like, what would make this child kill his mother? No one ever really
even looked
into
that.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. And like as they're like detecting all of these things, they're going on to say, there's gasoline on his shoes, he has a history of making fires, and the first thing I'm thinking is he was framed. Like people like wanted him to think that he did this, and like
that's interesting. I didn't even really think of that. Like that's an interesting perspective, because I also did think it was bizarre that they lit this woman on fire. Like why? If you're gonna kill someone, I feel like that's such a very extreme way to do so.
It's like hate.
Yeah, and in their own homes. You would probably do it somewhere away from where someone would be looking for them. It wouldn't be in their own home.
Like somebody that knows that he has a history of fires, or even saw him lighting a fire that night, could like
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
But this had to have been someone that like knows that he likes to light fires. Obviously.
Well, wait, did they say that he lit a fire that night?
Yes.
By the railroad
on the
tracks,
railroad
right?
tracks.
And now it's like at the end when they were talking about the like. Now I'm jumping to the end, but at the end when they're talking about the person crossing the tracks, like, did they see him do that? And that's what sparked like them lighting her on fire to like. Make that connection. Like
I think it goes back to what we kind of were saying earlier, how a lot of the times it's just kind of laziness possibly in the police force, where you see a woman that was set on fire, her son is known for making fires. A bunch of the negatives that they kind of used against him was he has a history of setting fires, his shoes had gasoline on them, and then he also failed a voice stress test, which is a different type of polygraph. But it's been proven that this type of test is unreliable.
Yeah.
But the cops, they fully believe in it and they like to use it. And so for me, it goes back to kind of, with that especially, just kind of a laziness factor that kind of the dots started to add up that the son could have done this.
Right.
And maybe he's a 14-year-old violent kid at some point because he's obviously setting fires. So it connected. And then, then they took a confession out of him that was false or kind of made up.
Yeah.
Like when he's obviously on the verge of like a psychological breakdown. I mean, he wants to kill himself. Of course, he's not going to be saying valid things. And like the fact that that's even, I don't know, taken was really...
Well, I mean, what do you guys
crazy.
think about that? Because the statement that was made was, I haven't cared since December 5th. That's when I killed my mom. So there were 3 people in the room when he made that statement. He claims that he says, I haven't cared since December 5th. That's when they killed my mom.
I think
What do
that's
you guys
a little
think is true?
fishy.
That's what I'm
Just because for 3 people to agree that he said something, I mean, I could see where people are getting mixed up because it's 3 against 1, of course. But at the same time, it's very, like, I've learned about things like this in school. So, like, when you're kind of locked up in that situation and people are pressuring you, it's almost like you either start believing or you just tell them you want what they want to hear, so they're just leave you alone. You know what I mean? It's like, how many times can I tell you no before?
So you think he said it? You think he said, I did it?
I don't think so, because this goes back to the whole polygraph thing, because they were like telling him like he even said himself that they went from asking him that if he killed his mom to saying you killed your mom, even though he knows that he didn't kill his mom. So that's a lot of stress to put on a 14-year-old kid that just witnessed his mother get burned to the ground.
Murdered, right.
And it's funny because even when he's telling the story to us of what happened that night, he seemed like he really loved his mom. So how do you even like fake that kind of love for your mom and then like be seen killing her?
Well, I want to know who those 3 people were.
Yeah, right.
Like, what were they? Were they all task force? Like, were they all, like, because I feel like that has a large role in it too. Plus, if he said there that he did it, why wouldn't he take a plea deal?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And he also obviously was going through a lot of emotional stress. The one thing that just angers me the most about all of that is I think the fact that, I mean, yes, he had gasoline on his shoes, but he's known to set fires. Exactly. If that's something you're known to do, he could have just had that on him. Yeah. But they used that as a major piece of kind of evidence that the dog sniffed him out and was like, hey, like, the dog didn't say this, obviously. But basically, the dog didn't go in and say, hey, but, it proved that basically, he had gasoline on him that night. So I thought that was just absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, so then we go into kind of interviewing some family members as well. Yes. They go and they interview the sisters, they interview the uncle and the aunt as well. So let's just start with the sisters, Melanie and Crystal. They seemed, I feel personally, if my mother, I don't know how I would feel, but we'll just hypothesize how I would feel about this. If my mother was killed and my brother was accused of it, and I knew that my brother did that, there is no way in heck that I would really just sit around and be like, oh my God, well, he didn't do it. I would be like, so like he did it, like so mad at him, so angered with him, so like, yeah, he did that, he's in the right place, that's where he should be. So I don't think they're like faking this at all. No. What are your opinion on the sisters, guys?
So can I first ask you guys a question? So were they just old enough to live on their own, or what? How come they weren't?
I think so.
I think they're significant, or not maybe not significant, but I think they're a lot older than him, because he was 14, so I'm sure that they were like in their 20s at the time.
So they at least 18 even.
They're in college or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear on
that joke that Crystal was saying that her dad told her. What? That was bizarre. And did she say that he he told her that joke before or after she was killed?
So this was after this was a couple of years ago, or a couple years since the interview.
It was the last time that they had spoken.
Right.
Yeah.
That should be in the case. That is like, that's weird.
That made me angry. I was angry.
That's like, that's scary. That's, I don't know.
See, but all of this makes me, I'm just also just like a non-believer. I feel like that they're going to make us think it was the ex-husband and then we're going going to find out.
Yeah, right.
Next
It's
like they're painting us a nice picture.
Maybe this is just the producer in me and be like, oh, that's what I would do. That's what I would do.
I felt myself falling for her for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just in this industry too long. But the joke was that it was just how I don't even know how that's a joke.
A joke,
That's
right?
And so you send your
kid.
wife like a beautiful car, and then the woman dies in the car, and you send that to your daughter, whose mother actually
Burned.
got killed.
bizarre.
And so I mean, who knows? I mean, what sane guy? If he didn't do it, why did he send that? Is he just crazy in the head? If he did do it, then he's really just making it easy to kind of get caught that he did it.
Also, I feel like they like never, when they didn't say who was walking across the field, it's like they even refer to their dad as Edward. Like, I don't know if you guys caught that, but they didn't call him dad. They called him Edward. And I was like, there's such a like separation there already that, I mean, it's so easy to tell that I mean, at least I think they're going to say that it was him walking across the field, or that's what they're going to come down to. But it was just so weird because then I was like, wait, was he not their real dad? Like, was he a stepdad? And then it was like, no, he is their dad. But there's just such a disconnect there, I think, with like the actual family, like, and having that connection with their father.
Yeah, well, they were in the middle of a divorce before she got killed. So that right there is major evidence that, he may have wanted her dead for whatever reason.
Exactly.
And like we were saying, it was a hate crime. So it looks like a hate crime when you set just one thing on fire, a person, a human being. You didn't set the whole house on fire. Because maybe he wanted to protect the kids that were in there. He knew other people were in there. Whatever it may have been, he or she, whoever actually ended up doing it. So the sisters, I mean, they seem genuine. They seem like they had nothing to do with it. So for me, are you guys crossing them off that they didn't have nothing to do with it?
Yeah. Completely.
All right. So now let's check in with Uncle and Aunt, Chuck and Nancy. So they were the first people that were called as soon as Michael woke up in the morning and smelt the smoke and found that his mom was actually on fire, which is just horrific to ever find. And so he came to the scene, and I'm guessing that he is her brother. I would assume by the way that they were chatting about how he had a heart attack after. It was so hard for him, etc. But the aunt really kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know why.
She was happy.
It wasn't that she was.
She was. I don't know.
Yeah.
She like stated like 3 different times that she was only concerned about Chuck, and I was like,
oh, I did notice
that's
that as
exactly what I was thinking.
I was like,
too.
I understand he's your husband and you're concerned about him and he had a heart attack, but like, you're not concerned. She never once said she was concerned about Michael.
Yeah.
Never said Michael or that she was sad that
or anything.
Rita passed.
It was very like
even Chuck looked a little like very
uneasy
silent
about
and
it,
like very like not hiding something, but like
and
he knows something almost that.
Well, they do know something.
Yeah,
they know who's walking across the fields, and
I thought that was sketchy. That was sketchy. How they kept saying everyone knows who they saw walking across the fields, but no one's saying who it was.
Yeah, and if that's your sister that passed away or your nephew that is being accused, why wouldn't you immediately be like, okay, this is who's in the field, this is the evidence, let's do something about this, let's figure it out. What's going on there?
And they even said that never even showed up in court. So if they actually cared so much about like getting him out of jail and stuff, then like they would be like pushing this like you know what I mean? Yeah. The one like piece of evidence that people have to defend him, and it's she
unless there is some fear that he might like retaliate or something, I don't know, but still that wouldn't be enough for me to just sit there and watch my nephew.
I don't know, this is a weird prediction,
so weird.
super early for a prediction,
right?
But I kind of think that Nancy's
really?
I don't know if she did. She's in my suspect list.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw her over there in that little list.
I feel like we need to know more about the family dynamic. We need to know more about the relationships, like deeper into the divorce and the relationship with Edward and
weren't
Rita.
they living on their land also? Didn't they say
they're
that?
like neighbors or something?
They're neighbors.
But didn't they say like that they took the trailer off
the property.
Patsy and Chuck's property.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't even know what that situation was either. Like, was she
so
not
we
able
have to understand
afford?
that.
Yeah. I don't know.
They probably had big enough land where, families do that. They all have different houses on kind of the same amount of land. But that's how he was able to run there in the morning as soon as he called because they lived so close to each other. But that's also why, I don't know, my little Nancy lady is kind of in my suspect. I don't know. There's just something weird rubbed me off from her, the way that maybe it's because the TV cameras are there and she was really excited that people are at her house. I don't know. I'm sure nothing really is happening.
Like, so there's a murder on my property,
right?
But I'm not gonna say who it was.
Right? Like this happened in '99. I'm kind of over it now. I wasn't really related. Like it's fine. So I don't know. She's one of my little. She's one of my little suspects. But I think you're right. We do have to find out the family dynamic a lot more. We only know one relationship that was horrible as of now. Everyone else looks like a happy picture, perfect family. And they even showed us home videos and stuff that kind of prove that as well. Everyone's happy and laughing. So where did it go wrong?
That's why I'm kind of like, that's why I was like almost confused at first. Like, you'd think that they would start with that, like start saying, oh, the mom's and son's relationship wasn't good, or it was amazing, or like I thought that they would like kind of emphasize on like the relationship of the family before jumping into who did what, So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was an interesting way that they kind of set it all up right now. And at the end, like I said in the beginning, like I wish they kind of left it with a little bit more of a cliffhanger than kind of who was in the field.
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't believe the way they ended it was just weird. I mean, we don't have to talk about it now, but I have something to say. It's just weird.
Say it, girl. Say it. Let's hear it.
I don't know, because it's almost like they want you to fall for something, but then why did they do that? I just, she was like, oh, so they wouldn't say who was coming through the fields, whatever, but then they automatically jumped to the sisters being like, why aren't they looking at my dad? It could be my dad. Do you not think that was so weird how that happened?
Yeah,
and
I agree.
She was just the way, I don't know. I mean, it's like they're trying to make you sway you in one way, but it's almost so obvious that it's like, I don't know if I want to fall for that.
Right. And again, but it's like, is it obvious again because of the age demographic too?
Okay.
Like, that's what I was also thinking too. Like, I don't know. It could be.
I never really take that into consideration.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, maybe.
That's a good idea.
And like maybe they're making it a little more obvious for a younger audience that
Not us experienced.
We've been around the block once or twice with murders, right?
Yeah. So I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
No, I agree though, for sure. I don't like, it's almost like, I get that they want us to watch the next episode and stuff, but like, that it's almost like they're making like this like horror movie off like this. That
was textbook. Watch the next episode to see what happens. Like,
and we are. We're going to.
We're obviously gonna watch the next episode. Yeah. But like, I agree with you. Like, I feel like they want us to think it's the dad, and then they're gonna swoop in and it's auntie or something, or like someone else. You know what I mean? But like, I don't. But like, it's almost like this is like a horror movie right now. And this isn't even like this is a serious case. This is more like, watch the next episode.
Yeah. And what I don't really understand either is the daughters obviously are so shaken up saying they don't have a relationship with their father and stuff. Yeah. But as soon as you got that weird email, that weird joke from him,
wouldn't a red flag go off?
I mean, called the police station, I don't know.
Done something with that. I don't even know if it's go to the police or if it's, hey, like try to maybe just start yourself gathering evidence around, the fact that, hey, like maybe this could have been my father. I mean, yes, I know that they have his lawyer, his name is Trisha, and she is a part of the Midwest Innocent Project. Yes. So obviously they have been doing work. I'm guessing the family was a big part of that, the sisters probably, for trying to get him out. And I'm sure they presented that to her, and showed her this joke. But the fact that they're not even talking about, hey, like our father probably did it, like this or that. One, it's scary to say, hey, maybe our father killed our mother.
Right, because
if he didn't,
he's disowning you all. Like, there's no, like...
Yeah, but... And then one other thing we haven't really discussed yet was that she had... Mary? The mother's name? Rita. Sorry. Rita, she had a blow to the head. So they know that, but there was no weapon or any type of physical evidence to find of what that was. And I'm curious to see whether or not the medical examiner was able to figure out what exactly it was. If it was a pole, if it was maybe a baseball bat, if it was a rock, if there was a cut, and what it was.
Something that I think that was like a big red flag in my head, because if they're saying that it was him and he was found at the scene, he was taken from the scene. He didn't have time to like run or go anywhere. anywhere. He was just there, you know what I'm saying? So if she did get a blow to the head and they don't have the physical evidence that the weapon, you know, obviously someone was used the weapon, was at the scene, and then took off with the weapon.
Yeah. That's so valid. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, I just thought of the person.
I know.
You should like work for like
I told
justice or something.
No, but that makes sense too, because if he had hidden it, if he had tried to hide it,
they would have found
in 2
it.
seconds, of course.
And they even said people walked miles to like find if he, you know, because he was at the crime. I mean, he saw the crime scene, so he would have had to get rid of the weapon immediately, like at least like in the general area. And people walked miles to even find a weapon, and they couldn't find anything. So
it's not like he had a car or something. He was on his feet. This like
child
live in the middle of the woods. Like he's a kid. He's not. I mean, think of you and your
who had a friend over, by the way.
Yes, I was
no,
just
and
gonna say
that's a huge. Why aren't we talking? We
more
need to
about
like
the
talk
friend.
to this friend.
Right.
I need to know what he saw, what his perspective is.
But he even said like he gave like a whole description on like what happened and how Michael woke up and everything, and that's an eyewitness. Like are they? But then
he said he didn't see him in his bed.
So they interviewed him. We saw that they actually brought him in. So yeah, he's claiming right now that when he woke up, he heard a woman screaming, and he didn't see his friend in the bed. So we never even hear, did he leave bed? Did he go into the bedroom? Is he a possible, you know what, right now I'm throwing him on my suspect list. Him and Nancy are on my suspect list right now, because seriously, he was the only other person there. If they were so focused on it being the son that killed her because he's into fires and stuff, maybe the
friend's into fires too, probably.
Maybe
they were lighting the fire together.
So
that's something I hope that they discuss, because there was 2 people there.
I think what's so fishy about that situation is they said that Michael woke up and he smelt a fire and like went to go see what was up with his mom and realized it was his mom that was on fire. However, like if this woman got hit in the head and all this commotion, they live in a trailer.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not a large space. Like all this is happening on top of each other. How did you not wake up or hear like some? I don't know. I think that's kind of weird.
The stories don't add up.
They don't,
because Michael is saying that he's woke up to smoke and went to his mom and found his mom like that, and the other kid's saying he woke up and heard a woman screaming and a loud noise, no smoke or anything. But if Michael, if I'm waking up to my house and there's smoke, I'd be like screaming, and whoever is next to me, my friend, I'd whack you and be like, "Hey, do you smell
get out of here?"
Right. Like, what? Keep quiet. Oh, let me quietly get out and go check.
He was like, I looked and he wasn't in his bed. So if you're hearing, even if like the kid,
and then I went back to sleep.
Right, if I'm hearing screaming, like I'm not just gonna be like, oh, casually a woman screaming bloody murder and over there, and I'm just gonna look to see if he's in his bed. Like, no, not in the bed. Okay.
And I get they're young, but 14 isn't young enough where
that's not stupid.
You're not
smart
a toddler.
Kids.
You have a mind.
Even a toddler's probably going to go where the noise is coming from. They're not just going to like
make a noise, you know. I bet that was weird.
So really that's someone else. So as of now, I have my 2 you guys agree with my suspect list?
I do. I like
my imaginary suspect list that's just hanging right here for everyone to see. All right. Well, I think we should get into a little bit of predictions then, guys. We ready? I think we're ready.
Get the lights going.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
That was creepy too.
So I think I kind of already stated most of my suspects. So let's see what you guys have to say about it right now.
Well, honestly, I was gonna go with Dad and take the easy way out, but now after discussing it, honestly, I'm gonna go with it. Probably wasn't Dad, and it probably was a little bit of a deeper situation going on. So I am gonna go with friend because I don't like that. Yeah, what was his friend's name?
I didn't catch
we didn't catch it either.
His friend's name.
Yeah. We'll find hopefully next time.
That's what I'm saying too. They didn't even like focus that much on the
friend. I don't even know if I can make a prediction
of
what.
This was a person that was here.
Right.
But you're believing that he's innocent though. Is that what we're going with?
I believe that Michael's innocent.
You believe Michael's innocent and you think the friend did it. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I'm still gonna keep Dad on my radar.
Okay.
But
I love all our imaginary
I'm keeping Dad up there. However, I kind of like how you said Auntie. I think she was acting sketchy. And Chuck was a little sketchball too. So I'm gonna keep those 2 up there too as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think that he's innocent, but I think there's there's a lot of unanswered questions that I need to know before I make an educated decision.
Oh, look at you opting out gracefully. I like that.
I need to be higher. A little more facts before I jump the gun here. But I don't know. I think some more people are going to come out of the woodwork that we're going to keep in question here.
Yeah. Well, also too, do we know how this is going to go? Like, is it going to be they're introducing this story, and then I know they're introducing another story the next one, but I don't necessarily think they're solving the first story in the next episode.
If they skip to a new thing in the next episode,
I don't know how they could. I don't know how you could solve
and like wait till the very end, and then they're gonna release all of the.
That's not fair. Not everybody takes notes. Like what the hell?
Yeah. Well, it's just these 2 cases that they're discussed. So I know it's just these 2, and then
but I believe
Ryan's own personal one.
Isn't there supposed to be 3 total?
So I think Ryan's case was the third one that we've discussed.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is really just gonna go with these 2.
So they definitely aren't solving it next episode. It's gonna be like next one's gonna be an intro.
Back type thing.
Cool.
Not positive. I mean, we're all predicting this right now.
That's my real prediction. What's happening?
It could be opposite, but yeah, I agree with you guys. I think I need a little bit more information. We got a little taste of it, and we enjoyed it. So thank you guys for keeping in tune with us and watching this with us. We're really excited for next episode. Remember to like us, to subscribe to us, give us 5 stars on iTunes as well, and you can follow me everywhere at Nadine DP and the number 3.
At Abigail Fraher.
You can follow me at Maddie_Makeley.
And you guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at @thereal_O_G.
Great. Awesome, guys. See you next week.
Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.